Hello everybody, welcome to Tpull's Corner, and it is not your imagination. I have 108 decks, because Wizards of the Coast dropped 10 pre-constructed on us when I was in the middle of deleting a couple, so I went from 98 to 108, so I'm having trouble creating new decks right now because I'm over full. So we're going to go ahead and do what we normally do when Wizard drops new decks, so we're going to play through the premades. Say that 3 times fast. I'm going to start with Ancient Discovery. And instead of going into a battle, we're going to sort of go over this deck real quick and see if we can go ahead. There we go. So 21 creatures, just a couple of instants and sorceries, 7 enchantments, 25 lands, and 4 artifacts. So when we go through this deck, there's something very noticeable that's missing from it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the deck tech now. We'll give you an update on the new Tpull and what I did with my Patreon page, and then we'll get into the battles. So we have Attentive Sunscribe. When it becomes tapped, you scry 1. You've got 2 forms of a sort of removal. Not quite removal, but maybe it would work to enchant artifact or creature. They can't attack or block, and their activated abilities can't be activated. 2 Guardians of the Great Door, which actually cost 6 if you're doing all lands, or if you have other stuff set up on the battlefield, just 2 lands and then 4 other things. Connecting the dots, so that maybe if you empty your hand, you could have a whole bunch of stuff under the enchantment, basically, and then you sacrifice the enchantment, put every card that was exiled with it into your hand to refill your hand. The game's going to have to last a few turns for this to work right. Stockpiling Celebrant. When it enters a battlefield, you may return another target non-land permanent you control to its owner's hand. If you do, you scry 2. This is not the greatest thing to have in this deck. How do I want to say this? There's not a lot on your side to do things. Like, you do have 2 copies of Tinker's Tote, so you can create a couple of Gnome artifact creature tokens. You could maybe blink this back up into your hand, and or bounce it back up, and then bring that down again to get some more Gnomes. But there's not much else that has an enter into the battlefield effect. You got 1,000 Moons Infantry that could untap. You've got Brazen Blade Master. Why would this be in here? Okay, when it attacks while you control 2 or more artifacts, it gets +2/+1 until end of turn. So what do we have that gives us artifacts, right? Mind Raider doesn't necessarily give us artifacts. That's a Discover 3. It could find Tinker's Tote and give you artifacts that way. Mind Raider. When Mind Raider enters the battlefield, if you control another outlaw, create a treasure token. Okay, let's look at the creatures real quick. Are you an outlaw? No, you're a gnome. Are you an outlaw? No, you're a dwarf knight. No outlaw there, you're a soldier. More gnomes. We have 2 pirates there, so those would trigger a Mind Raider. Okay, and if we had the second Mind Raider out, it would trigger. Enim Pakal, not no, that's a human soldier. That is not any of these things. It has to be assassin, mercenary, pirate, rogue, or warlock. Cloud Guard is a human soldier. Okay, not gonna trigger the outlaw. On the job is 2 copies of this, which cost 4. It gives you +2/+1, and then you investigate. Might be nice if you didn't keep getting 2 copies in your opening hand. Curator of Sun's Creation. Are you an outlaw? No, you're not. Capriocti Sunborn. Are you an outlaw? No, you're not. Daring Discovery. Up to 3 creatures can't block this turn. That's a game winner. I don't know why you have 2 copies. Geolika Prager. Human Artificer. Not an outlaw. Bonor Dracosaur, Dinosaur Dragon, cool creature, not an outlaw. And Aurelia, the Law Above, 4/4 Flying Vigilance Haste Angel, Angel's not an outlaw. And then finally, hit the Mother Lode, gives you a Discover 10, and gives you a bunch of treasure tokens. Okay, these 2 copies of Mind Raider should not be in here. Okay, you have literally only 2 other outlaws in the entire deck. You put this card from the latest expansion, Outlaws of Thunder Junction, in here, and you have 1 creature, 1 other creature type, 2 copies of it, that counts as an outlaw in this entire deck. And you don't have anything else to support it. And what else do we have for removal? Maybe you can count this as removal if you blink bounce a token, and then you got the 2 petrifies. What else is in here to get rid of things, to interact? Oh, you do have War Leader's Call. If you got this out on turn 3, this would help, right? All creatures get ++++1. and then when a creature enters under your control, you deal damage to each opponent. If you get that on turn 3 and it stays, maybe that would work. If you got an Impa Call Out and they didn't remove it on the turn 3, that might work if you got a little bit of support with her and all the rest of this. You've got a couple of good Discover cards in here. You got an ability to discover if you attack it with, and you can tap 2 untapped artifacts. You can discover if your 4/4 gets through. Here's another couple of Discover cards, which are cool. And Bonehorde Dragosaur is flying first strike with additional stuff here. That can be a game winner. That's a mythic rare. And then Aurelia, of course, is a good evasion with the flying vigilance and haste, with additional benefits if you attack with 3 or more creatures. But in order to get 5, you got to survive. And there's no other interaction here. You got 2 stockpiling Celebrants, and and 2 Petrifies, and that's the only interaction in this deck. It's mind-boggling to me. I don't get it. And the reason why I'm a little upset is because it used to be cool when they would do these pre-constructed decks. They used to be very fun to play. Half of them were competitive. You could take them into ranked, and they would work well. And it feels like maybe when I was around, when I came back during COVID lockdown and discovered Arena had already been out. This version had been out for a couple of years, I think. But the pre-constructeds were good and fun. And we haven't gotten back to that ever since. It's very strange to see these pre-constructed decks and go through them and figure out what were you thinking, because these decks are not going to work. So I don't know how all of the others are going to be. I've looked through most of them. I have some of the same problems with the rest. But maybe there'll be 1 or 2 that's good and fun to play. We're going to try it. In the meantime, I did go ahead and update my Patreon page just because I have a Patreon now. And I realized that in the descriptions, I hadn't pointed out that for example, if you're an all-access patron, you not only get the new stuff, but here you also get all the benefits from the lower tier. So I did that, and I just updated the editing there to show that here, if you're a VIP, you get not only the VIP stuff, but you get all of the previous 2 tiers as well. So we're going to retire the last poll, which was asking about Modern Horizons 3. Are you playing it? 11 votes. It was almost a near tie. Yes, the cards are awesome. A little bit more had no interest in it. And some that maybe they might have had interest, maybe they might agree the cards are awesome, but they're sitting it out because of the new ticket system on Arena, which is absolutely true. I think you go access it in the store, right? If we go to the store and go to Psychic Frog's Horizon Hideaway, you need to do 2,800 gems just to start shopping. I wouldn't mind having this Ulamog here. That might be cool. I wouldn't mind, maybe just buying some packs or getting some card styles, perhaps, with my tickets. I've got tons of tickets. I got over 1,900 tickets. This is worthless to me. This is useless. I'm not going to spend any of these tickets because this is terrible economy compared to the normal way that it was. And Arena already had I don't want to know if I want to say terrible economy, but it did have a pretty lousy economy overall. There should be a little bit better ways to get more of your collection. There should be a way if you've got, if you hit the limit, instead of getting a better card or another card or more gems, I think it gives you 1 gem. They said, oh, sorry, you can't get a mythic rare, you're full up. Here's a gem. And then you charge us 2,800 before we can spend any of your tickets. This is a lousy price. If it were gold, maybe I'd pay it. I'm not going to pay in gems. I don't have that many gems. I need to wait till the next expansion and pay the mastery cost, which you pay the regular cost, and then you pay the bonus cost, and you get a nice big discount. And you can get 1,200 of these gems back as you progress in the whole thing. Here, there's no refund on the gems. You don't get 1,200 back from what you spend. So this is just absolutely disgusting. I had to boycott this. This makes this entire expansion worthless to me. The only way that I've played it, and I know the cards are awesome, is because I played a couple of quick drafts. So I might continue to play some quick drafts because the cards are fun, but that's really going to put a big limit on how many of Modern Horizons 3 that I add to my collection, which is really a bummer for me because it's not like Wizards coming out saying, oh, well, maybe this expansion isn't for you. No, this expansion would have been for me just fine, but your economy got worse. Your game terms, the in-game currency, the deal got worse. You can't do that. I'm not going to participate. there's probably a majority of people, or, you know, like we did with the poll here, maybe a third that are going to do it anyway. And, you know, maybe that's enough for them to keep doing this. All I can do is not participate and hope they never do something like hideaway tickets again. If they're collecting data and they see a bunch of us not engaging, maybe they won't do this to us. That's the only thing I can hope for, because this is a rotten deal. It's going the wrong direction on digital, you know, freemium type games. It's terrible, terrible, terrible. Can't stress that enough. In the meantime, we're retiring that poll, and we got the new one. And again, because I just edited the Patreon page, what would you like to see added to a Patreon tier level that would make it worthwhile to consider being a patron? Just leave me a comment, or if maybe you're strapped for money, or maybe you're just the type that you hate paying for digital things, or maybe I'm just not impressive enough. You don't want to contribute anything. That's okay. But I'll still take your ideas, because I do have a Patreon now, and I want to go ahead and make it more attractive for other people as well. So I'm soliciting the wisdom of the crowd to help me get better, more attractive things in the tier levels. And if I can implement them, maybe I will. And then we'll keep that vicious cycle going. In the meantime, yes, I did play some ranked lately. But instead, we're going to go here. We're going to try this Ancient Discovery out. We did get another new subscriber, so welcome aboard. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the button. It does help me. And we're up against Lone Wolf. Only one color. And nothing I can cast on the first couple of turns. Let's see if anything gets better. I mentioned about getting this card in my opening hand. That's irritating. I only have a couple of 5-drops in the entire deck. Here we've got 4 dead cards because they haven't given me a mountain yet, and no extra land, so we might not get any land either. There should not be 2 copies of this card in this kind of deck. This should be a removal card. The opponent is going just great. I missed a land drop. Great, Magic. Arena, you have 25 lands in here, not 24, and you still made me miss a land drop on my first match. I hope you're happy. This guy's going to kill me just with the lands they're dropping. That's how they're going to win. Okay, it's tapped. I can't cast anything. Does me no good to attack. They might kill it anyway. Look at that. I'm so surprised. They already have 3 treasures. I can't cast a thing. This is a wonderful deck you put together, Wizards. Oh, it'll be easy for me to get rid of a 4/4 Flying Haste Dragon, right? All I need is one of the 2 enchantments that paralyze them. What's that? You didn't give me any? You haven't allowed me to draw any. Okay, well, I do have 4 lands. I could cast on the job. How about that? Anything that can block a flyer? Here's one. If I control another outlaw, I can create a treasure token. I can't do that. Well? I guess we're doing that. It's probably going to die in a second. Opponent does not miss a land drop, whereas I did. I'm down to 9 life. Well, you can't beat Lone Wolf, though. Lone Wolf is awesome. This you have to get out early because it's based on attacking. You have to be the offender. So, in this board state, it's virtually worthless. Down to 6. Down to 3. And direct damage will finish me off. They can just hit me for a point of damage there anytime they want. There we go. And they get a treasure out of that. Oh, look! It's land. I can cast on the job. Let's discover 3 for the heck of it. Never mind. Straight to the face. That's just such a masterful deck, Arena. Oh, so lovely. They used to be able to craft a decent deck. Did they lose everybody when they fired a bunch of people from Hasbro last December? Have they not recovered from that incident still? There's not even enough artifact support in here. Alright. Arena has apologized. I have 2 colors. They didn't give me the 4-drop instant. They did give me the most expensive card in the entire deck at the very beginning. And a card that you really don't want to use unless you have something to bounce. Maybe I could start with Tinker's Tote. It's turn 2. And they already have down something more powerful than my stuff. It's Mine Raider. Yeah, let's throw down the Mine Raider. It's not like I'm going to hit another Outlaw at the right time. Can at least trade off. Maybe, unless they have that Explore again. Daring Discovery, yet another card that I can't play till late. So 2 dead cards in my hand. Not really much of a choice there. We've got to do something. Okay, I have 2 1/1s now. I'm sure that will devastate my opponent. Can you tell I'm not impressed by what Wizards has done for us here? Deep Fathom Echo lets them explore every time. This might actually be one of the premades. Yes, I think this is one of the other premades, which this one has some flaws, but it is better than what we're dealing with here. Okay, we will go ahead and bounce the Tote, I guess. That allows us to scry. I think we take the War Leader's Call first. And then we just bring this down now. And with Deep Fathom Echo, you have to be careful with Deep Fathom Echo that you don't copy a legendary creature, because if you do, you have to make a choice between which one to keep. They throw away a 4/3 just to dig deeper through their deck. They figure they don't need it. Alright. Everybody's a +1. That helped us for 1 turn. This deck, I think, one of the big flaws is they only have 1 card that helps you, that makes you get rid of enchantments. So we're really dependent on the luck of the draw if they get that 1 card or not. If they don't, War Leader's Call sets us up. We got it kind of early enough that maybe it will help. Wow, we really made them stop and think, didn't we? They're blue. Yeah. If you're blue, you're roping. Hey, it's one of the creatures they threw away before. That one explores, then the Echo gets to explore. It could become a copy of this, maybe? And get Vigilance? They still don't want to attack. Would have been nicer to have 6 lands by now. But we're doing damage. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, but I can't really... I'm looking at maybe using Daring Discovery and having 3 of these say they can't block. But if they attack with everybody, they've got lethal already, so I need to sacrifice some of mine just to stay alive. And there goes the Tpull, which was basically my only chance at winning. Everything else was based around that. These 2 cards are now definitely useless. And Tinker's Tote is marginally useless for the most part. They've got 5 creatures out already. And way more land than I will ever get thanks to the constant exploring. Because they got this lovely card so soon. Which, when we get to this deck, it'll probably be in another video later. This is basically the star of the show. And I think we blocked that, and let's get rid of you. See if they have yet another spell. No, they just trade them off. Okay, I lose everybody, they still have 3 creatures. And what can I do? I can play the Tinker's Toad again. Ta-da! We do hit him for 2 points of damage. And I can sacrifice that any time just to get 3 life. We did get rid of the constantly exploring creature at the very least. Oh, you get to explore for 6 times. I'm sure that'll be just fine. Oh look, they can deal damage to one of my creatures next turn. Am I going to win a single match with this deck today? That's a good question. I'm supposed to be able to, right? There's supposed to be some enforced 50% win-loss ratio, generally speaking. I think we go ahead and take out this... No, wait. I think we take out this one. And we'll go ahead and get 3 life back now. Can I use my expensive card yet? No, I can't. They can get rid of the creature and do lethal. 2 dead cards the entire match. Thank you, Arena. Thank you for that deal. That was a lovely deal. Neither one of the 5-drop creatures it might have been useful. And they just get to do everything with their entire deck that they want. That seems fair. So you can see how well one of their pre-made decks does in a matchup against ours. The last round of pre-constructed, I never went back to. Like, I went ahead and did this. I went through to demonstrate them for you. I don't think I ever opened them again. They were just not interesting enough for me. This may be the only time I play this Ancient Discovery deck that they've made. Okay, Lone Wolf already beat us. Now we're up against the Crowned Wolf. Okay, this is almost a decent draw for a change. I got both colors, we got cheap spells that we can cast, and we got one of our 5-drops. We've got our little Celebrant Tinker's Tote combo again, which is about all that we can do. And we can scry. I need 5 lands, so we will take that, because we need that for the Dinosaur Dragon. This looks like it's supposed to be a go-wide strategy with the gnomes, but if you don't have any Tpull, then there's not really a whole lot of ways to pump them up. If you don't get War Leader's Call, that only pumps them up +1. So you're basically just... Oh, they have stockpiled. They didn't do anything with it. You didn't do anything with your Celebrant. Guess what? I'm going to do something with my Celebrant. Haha! Let's see. Do we want those? I guess. The Blade Master might come in handy because we do have a couple of artifacts. We'll just scry one, that's fine. They don't want to trade off. They could have just bounced one of my gnomes, right? Oh, they get an... Or is this a mirror match? But they're going to do better because they get... No, because we've got a good defensive line. This should be fine. This should be fine. We destroy you. We go ahead and block you, let you die. Unless they have something that freezes one of the two enchantments to put on this, they're in trouble. There's virtually nothing else they can do against me. What are you going to do? Attack? I've got first strike. Oh, there's Petrify. Oh, look, they discovered and got the Petrify. What a coincidence. Thank you, Arena. In a mirror match, they get the one and only spell that can do anything against the dragon. We still get to do this stuff. Okay, so what do I do? 3, 4, 5. I don't have enough for both of these, right? I can play them this turn. Do I take the tote, or... I feel like we should take this. There. See? 2 people can do that. And then... Oh, actually, I can burn the treasure. Auto pay. We'll just make use of everything that we exiled. And we scry another Itali's favor. That's perfect. They neutralize my mythic rare. What else can you do? I basically got lethal next turn already. The only other thing you have to stop things is a second Petrify. After that, it's just creatures. Yep. I could have just done the Daring Discovery. Okay, so, hey, I won, right? After a couple of losses facing other stuff, all that Arena had to do to get me to win with this crap deck was to pit me against the same crap deck. And presto, you can win! It's a miracle. That's all they needed to do. They just needed to let me win once. Now we're back to giving me the most expensive card in the deck again. Against very cheap stuff. Sunscribe keeps coming up a lot. Yeah, usually the fairies get you. Between the removal that black has to remove any flying defense that you have, they can just fly over your head and peck you to death. Well, I think Arena's trying to give me a hint. What spell out of these should I cast? The 7-drop? Or maybe the same of 3 choices? Let's see. I guess that one. Maybe I should just put it in my hand. I don't know. I've got 3 of them. Yeah, I guess we need more land. I do want to cast the Cloud Guard. That's not removal, but it is something they can pay to put the stun counter on it. Okay. Okay, fine. That's temporary, though. There's another way I can win, and that's if Arena makes them miss a land drop. Okay, that's removal. But you didn't play a land. Still didn't play a land. There you go. Okay. Arena helped him out. That's a lot of fairies. I can't really afford to attack with a Tpull. They could triple block. There we go. That's the kind of trade-off I need. Still got a point of damage in on that trade. If they have another creature, then I'm still stuck with a Tpull. But we do have 6, so we just need one more land to hit the mother load. And they're missing land drops. There we go. Discover 10. What do we get? Bonehorde Dracosaur. That seems fair. Okay, we attacked with a non-gnome creature, so she got a counter. Now she can attack. She can attack next time. That's actually just fine. I think this is another pre-constructed. Does Arena only pit the pre-constructeds against each other? Is that what they're doing? Okay, the Dracosaur lets us do these. And then we do the on the jump. And we don't care who you... yeah, we don't care who you block at that point. Okay, you saw the deck, how it works if you're able to get a couple of the good cards out. We got our most expensive one paid for. Bought and paid for, and we won 2 games in a row with this deck. We didn't win it using the card that lets you benefit from having other outlaws in the deck. I suppose if I were in a mood, I could go ahead and do a tech update on this and talk about how I would change it. I mean, I will at the very end, but I'm not going to... I feel like the deck, I would make it so different that I wouldn't even bother using this as the bones of anything. You know what I mean? I would not start with this as my baseline. With the ramp, they already got out a 4/4. This could be good if we survived long enough to build up, but you kind of need to be able to build up quite a bit for this. And these can destroy enchantments, right? Yeah, remove 3, destroy target artifact or enchantment. And Blade Master's already dead, and we are half dead. And they give us the most expensive card. I don't think we're going to get to that. I don't think we have enough time. Our opponent is Casual Dave, and he is casually taking his time, even though he has a big advantage right now. 5-5 out now. Ouch. Where am I going to get 2 untapped artifacts in time to have that legendary creature have anything to have an impact on the board? I basically have to get rid of the 5-5 next turn. No, not that. I'm trying to choose this. Oh, it has to be one that I control. Never mind. It has to be one I control? That was my problem, wasn't it? That was the big problem. You can't bounce the opponent's stuff. Now I remember. You can only bounce your own stuff. That makes it even more worthless. I think the only thing other than that gnome thing is to maybe bounce Atali's favor a couple times. This is virtually not, I mean, if they maybe sit there and don't attack us for a turn? Yeah, they just gave him trample, right? So just to stay alive for one more turn, I have to double block. They don't need the lands, so who cares that they milled 2 lands away? Oh, they're taking so long. They're just taking way too long to do everything. There was no hope for that. We had one more turn. There was no magical card. I mean, if we got the... We needed 5 lands to do the Dracosaur. Okay, we're going to play one more. Ugh, so disgusted. Some of the decks are better than this. I mean, it's kind of hard not to be, right? Another very expensive card. The most expensive card again. How many times did we hit the Mother Lode? We cast it once, but a dead card that was responsible for us dying more often than not. Yeah, it was fun to be able to cast it once. Thanks, Arena. I've already used this card in other decks. It worked out nice in my deck. This is not the right deck for it. It really isn't. Where did you go? Okay. We have a match. Let's do it. I recommend you play a land. There you go. They're already winning. They already did damage. Oh, look, the card that I hate. Thank you, Arena. The card that I already complained about just from playtesting a couple times that I was getting way too often in the beginning. No, you gotta be kidding me. I'm not editing my voiceovers on this, okay? This is happening live as I'm recording. So, yeah, when I say this is happening to me, I'm not making this up. Okay, 2 draws in a row. Get the card that you don't want to have until much later in the game. Dead card, dead card, dead card, dead card. Still not able to cast that one yet. I've got one thing I can do. This I think this is another premade. Which this one can be funner, more fun to play. It also has some problems, of course. Okay, that was the only thing I could do. This is really a mismatch, right? They're different expansions. This is based on discovering. This is based on investigating. if I was going to have this card in my deck, I would have another card. I mean, maybe it's a little parasitic, but I would have a card like this that helped you discover again, not something that helped you investigate. They mash these things up, and the normal thing that Wizards game designers are good to do, especially for the casual play, I'm assuming Wizards of the Coast has a casual play department now. I would guess that those are the people responsible for putting together pre-constructed decks, right? I could do on the job as an instant. 5 through 5. He would still die. So let's go this way. We need some time to set up. Let's see if we get that time. Opponent does not miss a land drop. It feels weird. We've got 2 cards that benefit from discovering, but we're nowhere near being able to discover anything ever. Maybe I just bring down Guardian of the Great Door next turn. Investigate total number of players those creatures control, so they get 2 clues. And they went digging. And that's not even worth attacking, is it? Oh, this can't be blocked, right? They drew their second card. They can get a free hit in. One and a 2 and a 3 and that one. Opponent does not miss a land drop. I need 2 more to hit the mother lode. Oh, look at that. You can exile stuff from your own graveyard if you want. I'm not sure why you bother. That seems wasteful. But I didn't have anything in my graveyard. Guardian does not have vigilance, so do I keep them on defense still? They made it so the flyer, but this doesn't have haste. Okay, 6 lands. I kind of like this idea. Forensic Gadgeteer. Okay, return to the battlefield tapped, otherwise... Okay, so we end up with the 2/2 Detective. But we can now discover. We get that one. And we get to discover twice, and we're discovering for the same value. Is there anything that I want to throw up? No. So that's a worthless card for me. Decline. It found the 2 best cards. Sweet. Okay, do I want to attack with 3? Yes. Yes, I think I do. I don't have anything that's going to discover right away. So we'll draw the card. They can kill 1 free of charge. And they can trade off with the other one if they want. Really? You're gonna chump block with your private eye? No way. Yeah, use the Gatekeeper. Gatekeeper makes much more sense. There's no more value with the Gatekeeper. There you go. Okay, we drew Tinker's Toad off of that, and we lost a 3-3. Was that worth it? Board wipe. Okay. We finally... we did so well. We cast our most powerful spell. We got both of our 5-drops, and it was all taken away from us. Just like that. And leaving us with 2 useless cards. All just from 1 card in an opposing deck that's pre-constructed. Three, 2 flyer. Okay. We've got plenty of hidden stuff that we can use to discover again. And this has vigilance, right? Okay, on the job's going to work for us. It's going to work for us, I'm telling you. Oh, don't fall for it. Don't block. Don't block. Haha! I'll pay for that. And we can sacrifice these for life. And we can play Daring Discovery. Let's see if they want to draw and discard. That gets them 1 more counter on things, right? Just a land, that's fine for them. They get another counter. It's 8. They get 1 damage. Up to 3 creatures can't block. And I get a Tally's Favor. Life is good. Oh, and I can do this. Exact lethal. So I think that we've managed to play enough rounds to demonstrate the potential synergies in the deck. Which it's kind of telling that the best turn that we had, we cast our most powerful card, and we got the other 2 most powerful cards out at the same time, which sounds cool, but we lost everything. We still managed to pull it out. What would I do with this? As much as it's weird to think that we played 2 on the jobs at once and it seemed to help us win, and you know, the deck, the cards can work together. I think we demonstrated that, but I think you've already seen almost the best possible thing that the deck can do already. Like, there's very few other things that this deck can do, and we really need more interaction. So if I was going to do something with this, I probably would get rid of at least 1 Guardian of the Great Door. I would probably get rid of stockpiling Celebrant, although maybe I will take this out for a spin and practice bouncing Itali's Favor with it. But there's only 2 of these and only 3 of these, so the odds of you getting enough space on the board to practice with that and to have fun with it is probably almost nil. I would not have the Mind Raiders in here at all. I guess you could keep the Blade Masters. You could possibly get enough artifacts to make that worthwhile. I would get rid of both of the on the jobs, so that's 5 cards we've gotten rid of. If we want to keep this in for funsies, you can, and I don't know that I would have 2 of these. I'd probably take one of those out and just have one come up on occasion. And so then that's 6 cards. I would basically make almost all of those interactions, right? I would make them removals, make them board wipes, add in a couple of extra petrifies or something. Just anything that allows you to interact with the rest of the deck. With the opponent's deck, that is. There is some possible synergies because they did give you 2 hidden volcanoes and 2 hidden courtyards. So if you weren't in danger of dying right away and you had extra time, maybe if you had things like, 1 or 2 of the curator of Sun's Creation out, you could burn through these and get extra value pumping out of your deck, that kind of thing. So I won't say that this is completely unfun. But it is so easy for your opponent to just have a couple of removal spells early on and then you're dead, or to have something like a green ramp or a green-red ramp, which we already saw happen to us, and just not be able to get enough going because, what do you end up going? You end up drawing like Tinker's Tote too often to get a couple of whirlwinds down. That's just not enough for you. And we end up... This ends up being a dead card more often than not. More than half the time it costs you because it's a dead card. These end up being dead cards more than half the time and end up costing you, whereas you could have had something else in your hand. If these had been removal cards most of the time, they would have been more useful to me. I was able to do 2 at once and have this make me a good turn once when the game lasted long enough. That's it. Okay, so that's Ancient Discovery. That's what it looks like. That's the deck. I'm going to go through these so that maybe you don't have to. That's my plan. So these are some of the older ones. The Aerial Domination, Cold-Blooded Killers. Those are not ones. We'll go through. Maybe we'll just do alphabetical order. So maybe I'll do Crack the Case next. We'll see how I feel. But as always, I invite you to like and subscribe. Remind you that I've got that post there, the new poll that I put out on the Patreon page, to get the wisdom of the crowd's opinion on what would make me do better with that, because I've had it forever, but I haven't really paid any attention to it before now. And so it's edited, it's slightly better wording to be more accurate to describe the existing rewards, and I will pump up those rewards if y'all want me to add in something else and you say you want to pay for it and donate to the worthy cause that is me. And then in the meantime, go ahead and leave me a comment. What do you think of the deck building that Wizards of the Coast did for us with this Ancient Discovery deck? Does it look fun enough that it's worthwhile to go revisit? Maybe is it okay for you to just retool it a tiny bit, and maybe it would be okay, it'd be better to take it out for a spin? Maybe I'll do that. Maybe. Let me know. We'll do. I won't do a whole. I won't do an extra posting for a poll on it, but we will. I'll go ahead and ask you to post a comment. Do you want me to make, starting with this as the baseline and editing it a little, do you want me to try and make it more fun? I will do that if you want me to. And with that, as always, we thank our patron, and we'll go on down the line, and we'll try and get through all these. I don't know if we'll do them all in a row, or if I'll stagger them with some other interesting deck ideas that I've had. I think what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to export these out of my deck list, and I'll go ahead and have them on record so that you'll have, I'll make a copy of it in EtherHub, so you'll have the link down in the text below so that you can actually get, you can copy the deck list if you want to. And then we'll export them out of my decks, and as soon as I have enough room, we'll start having some new decks to show you. So with that, thank you everybody. Have a good one.